Welcome, I'm Bev Adams. I own an independent paper crafting business showcasing products from Stampin' Up. I made this beautiful card with products from Stampin' Up. I sell these products and also a few items to make crafting more convenient. I have the free detailed directions for this project on my website. I also have links for the products that I used. If you click those links, it'll take you to my online store at Stampin' Up. You'll see where to find all of that at the end of this video, so don't worry about taking notes. It's time to put stamps, ink, and paper together. So this card has a lot of pieces, but there's a couple of pieces I just kind of threw in as extras. I'll show you what those are in just a second. I'm using Winterly Treetops and the Winterly Treetops dies. And I'm using the Nests of Winter Designer Series paper. Beautiful. And like usual, there's a kind of a A side and a B side, with the B side making good background. This is the paper that I'm going to be using for this project. This actually has the stamp that's the same, and you could stamp this one. You could also use this design or this stamp, either way. I'm also going to be using some cherry cobbler and pearl berries. I'm going to bring in my directions just so I can remind myself all of the pieces, because there's a lot of pieces in this. My card base is 4 1/4 by 11, scored at 2 3/4 and 5 1/2. I have a piece of basic white that is 3 1/2 by 5, and do yourself a favor and cut it just a tiny bit less than 3 1/2 going this way. We're going to use both pieces of this. I have a piece of crumb cake that is 7/8 by 4 1/4. This is one of those optional pieces, and this is 2 3/4 by 3 1/2. The cherry cobbler pieces are all 3 5/8 going this way, and they will be arranged on the card this way. It's 2 1/4, 2 5/8, and 5 1/8. And then I have a piece of basic white. This is 3 1/2 by 10 1/8. I've scored it at 2 3/4 and 5 1/2, and it's going to be a Z fold. And then an envelope, of course. So I have already cut this piece with the Winterly Treetops dies. And it's this piece right here. I've already pulled out the bird pieces. These go with the Designer Series paper. There's some pussy willows and some leaves, and I'm going to also use these little sprigs. When you go to take these apart, there's a lot of fine pieces in here that kind of weave themselves together. So you do want to be gentle in pulling these apart. And the main piece that we're using is actually the inside scrap piece. And they do come apart, but you have to kind of work them apart. If you would like to use this, this is the other optional piece, and I really think it looks beautiful here. And just for my own help, I'm going to lay this part out here so I can see it. So we're going to lay the crumb cake with a small section on the left side, and we're going to go ahead and put these panels together. We're going to put on the mountain fold, we're going to put it right next to the crease. And then the next larger piece goes in the center. And so we want to leave the more space on the valley side, because when you go to fold it, you want to leave room for those two pieces to kind of fold together. You need to leave some room for the crease. And then the large piece goes on the remainder side. So this is also a valley side, so we want to have that a little bit extra room. And we want to have these all lined up. This piece is really, I just couldn't throw it away. I just decided to hang on to this. So I'm going to put it right here, and it will decorate, and you will see it, and I think it looks extra fancy. But if you don't want to mess with this part, that's okay, or if you want to save it for another card, you can. I figured it's here, so I might as well use it. And I want it to go here, so I want this tiny border. I'm watching this side. This side might be covered up on the very end. Okay, and we'll set that aside. The white piece is going to have the large side on the left side. And I guess I should crease this. And we're going to use this as a stencil to color our background. So I'm going to fold this behind, and I might even want to fold that like that, so I have just this piece. And frankly, this is why I use the optional, because I didn't do that before. I'm using shaded spruce ink, and I want to hold this as still as I can. I really like having a piece of window sheet when I'm using the blending brush, because I can kind of push the ink into away from the surface of that, and still be able to pick up that ink. So mostly I'm going around on these sprigs. And if you move it like I did, just stick it back and in place. And if it's very far off, it's really okay. Nobody's even gonna notice. Okay, pretty. Then I'm going to rotate this around and repeat it. You probably want to line up the edges here just so they are there, and the same. And one of these you probably want to go a little bit darker. This one I did pretty much the same, but I think it looks really pretty when you go a lot darker on the second one around. And I also want to go dark in the center here. Okay, isn't that pretty? And you see how it's, so I think you can see the difference between having a lighter and a darker, or all the same. Either way you want to do it, it's just fine. Now when I did this one, I didn't fold it over, or I didn't fold it under, and so I had some ink here, and I see that folding it back I have a little bit here. I think that will be okay. So you might want to have some scratch paper to protect that. And we can go ahead and glue this on the card base. When I glue it, I want to just have glue on the ends here. So glue in this section and on this section. So if you have it basically here, you do want to get glue pretty close to where the creases are. Not this crease, but this crease here. And it's going to have this teeny tiny border. So this will fold like that. Now, if you want to put this one here, you can. I think I'm not going to on this, in this case, just so I have a difference showing. I'm going to be stamping my greeting, thinking of you always. And I want to be on this end of the tag, on the left side. And I'm going to flag this end, and if you cut down the middle about, I don't know, 1/4 of an inch, depends on how deep you like your flags. This is kind of a more shallow flag. And I'm cutting from the corner to that center, and it helps me get that fairly even. This is going to go here. And then I'm going to do a little bit of die cutting. And before I do the die cutting, I actually have to cut out my birds. And I think for this one, just because I'm going to experiment with this bird as well, I just want to roughly cut this out. Really, you want to use a whole one where all of it's there. But I'm gonna cheat here a little bit. And we'll get the tail off of this one. And I think I'm going to go ahead and glue these together right now, just so that I don't have to match up the edges on my die cut. And I put too much glue on here. So if you match up the lines as they come together here, I think no one will know the difference. I didn't use this one on my sample. And then I also want to get out that center section that we colored extra dark. I'm going to go ahead and cut these sprigs from that. This is scrap, although it's pretty. You might want to keep it for something. And those birds, I don't think you would even ever see that little gap there. So I'm going to put my sprigs down here. Where'd my other sprig go? And then I have to decide how I'm going to arrange these birds. Do I want them all on here? Maybe I'll put them like that. That looks pretty. I kind of want to have that on the edge of this crease. Oh, and this, I cut off the tail, so having it there right next to that banner is perfect. No one will know that either. Nice. So I only have one pack of these berries, and I have more people than usual coming to my workshop. So I'm just using the single berries here, but I can put them in that set of 3, just like these that are already kind of stuck together. Of course, I could use the white ones too if I wanted. And there's my card. Here is the web address where you'll find the free detailed directions and links for the products I used. I also offer lots of resources on my website. Click Shop to see the online exclusives, clearance items, my frequent shopper points, and the products I offer to make crafting more convenient. That includes a cardstock sampler for all the current Stampin' Up! Cardstock and samplers for the Stampin' Up! Cardstock going all the way back to 1997. Click Inspiration to scroll my projects. You'll find the directions and images all the way back to 2011. You may also want to check out the Basics button where I share about stamps, ink, and paper, card cutting, bases, and layers, and some of my favorite tools. Click Getting Organized to find lots of free resources like case inserts, labels for just about every product, catalog tabs, color tools, and much more. More organization means more time for crafting. Click Evernote Current Products to learn how you can share my Evernote notebooks. The Current Products Notebook allows you to search every item by name, number, type of product like stamps, designer series paper, tools, themes like birthday, friend, baby, masculine, and even individual words. I also share a notebook with retired products going back to about 2015, and there's lots more that are older than that. Click Stamp Together if you're in Ventura County and come stamp at my house. You can also join my team if you're anywhere in the United States. And please subscribe to my YouTube channel and also to my website so you don't miss a thing. Thank you so very much for watching. Bye.